my name is Stuart Neville, and I would like to talk to you today about my new novel, Blood Like Mine. And it just so happens I was contacted recently by a couple of young cub journalists who wanted some work experience, so I agreed to let them interview me and help me in this little project. So, what is the elevator pitch for Blood Like Mine? I'm very glad you asked that. I'm going to read it from a little bit of paper here, if you don't mind. Rebecca Carter and her daughter Moonflower are on the run across the American West, leaving behind a trail of bodies dumped in the wilderness. FBI agent Mark Donner hunts a vicious serial killer, the victims all online predators, drained of blood, their spinal cord severed. When Donner's investigation finally leads him to Rebecca and Moonflower, he discovers her mother, who'll do anything to protect her daughter, even if she's a monster. So, how did this book come about? Well, that's another very good question. I was actually writing an entirely different novel. A kind of somewhat more literary affair in that I was 40,000 words in and nobody was dead yet. When I had this other idea, the idea came to me quite fully formed. The story pretty much plotted start to finish. I had the characters in place, the setting, and everything. And but I didn't really want to set aside the book I was writing. I was supposed to be writing, and so I tried to shelve this other idea, but it kept nagging at me. So I thought, right, I'll write a synopsis. I'll write a 3 or 4 page synopsis, and that'll scratch the itch, and that'll be it, dealt with. I can set it aside. So I did that, and that only made things worse. So I contacted my agents and my editors and explained that I had this other idea for a novel that I'd really like to write instead of the one I was supposed to be writing. Thankfully, they were very understanding and accommodating, and that was okay. So I started writing Blood Like Mine. So why did I decide to move into horror? Well, for me, it wasn't that big a move because ever since my first book, The Ghost of Belfast, as it's called in the States, or the 12 in the UK and Ireland, my books had always had a supernatural element to some extent or another. And I kind of moved away from that over the years with my books. I'd made them more straightforward crime, but over lockdown during COVID, I put together a short story collection called The Traveller and Other Stories. And quite a few, there was about half the stories in the collection were either ghost stories or horror stories. And it reminded me of how much I liked that genre because it was the genre I really grew up with. I grew up reading Stephen King. And that reminded me how much I loved that part of storytelling. And so the next book I wrote after that was called House of Ashes, and it was a thriller and whatnot, but also a ghost story. But then when the idea for Blood Like Mine came, it didn't feel that big of a leap to move more deeper into horror territory. It's still very much structured as a thriller, but it's you could call it a horror novel as well. I think thriller readers and horror readers will get something from it. What? Who is this book for? That's an interesting question. It's not something I usually think about when I write a book, to be honest. But I think thriller readers will, I hope, find something to enjoy in this. It is a fast-paced page turner, I think, and a lot of elements of crime procedural and so on there. But I also think horror readers, I hope, will get something from it as well because it has that uncanny element, the supernatural, the odd scare. And for readers who, or maybe crime readers who are new to horror, maybe seeking a gateway, it might serve them well. And I think horror readers who maybe want to dip toe into crime, this might be a nice bridge to get into that. So give it a go. See what you think. Is Blood Like Mine a standalone? Funny you should ask that, because I'm just as I record this interview, I'm putting the finishing touches to a sequel to Blood Like Mine, which is titled provisionally Blood Like Ours, and there are plans for a third novel, tentatively titled Blood Like Theirs, to make up a trilogy. I hope, and part two of the series should be out next year, and the third part the year after that. So when is the book out? Very soon, 6th of August 2024 in the United States, North America, and 15th of August in the UK and Ireland and Commonwealth territories. Well, Gino, I'm very glad you asked where you can buy the book. All good bookstores in the United States will be available at Barnes and Noble, as well as all good independent bookstores, the Poison Pen in Scottsdale, Murder by the Book in Houston, and so on, all over the place. And in the UK, if you go to your independent bookstore, you can get a lovely spread edge edition. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Signed as well, but only from independent bookstores. Why, yes, I will be doing a string of events to promote the upcoming publication of Blood Like Mine. I'll be appearing at the Edinburgh National Book Festival. I'll be doing events at No Alibis Bookstore in Belfast, Bridge Books Dromore, various other bookstore events around the place. I'll also be doing a tour of the United States, which will take in Los Angeles, St. Louis, Missouri, Houston, Texas, Scottsdale, Arizona, finally winding up at BoucherCon in Nashville. So I look forward to seeing some readers out and about. Well, there you have it. That's my new novel, Blood Like Mine, coming in August 2024 from Simon & Schuster in the UK and Ireland, and Soho Press's new horror imprint, Hell's Under in the United States and North America. So I hope you'll pre-order it, or go to your favourite local bookstore and pick up a copy. Thank you.